So I've been a fan of her work for a few years. The thing I even talk about this in the book. In the peripheral vision, you might say, I had an eye on looking at her work, but I never got there. I was looking at other things, and then all of a sudden, it was almost like being infected, to use a term that's kind of circulating around the world these days. I was infected by uh, her work when I started paying attention to it and reading it, particularly her later works. And they were speaking to me because basically the way I might put it is that she was writing me, and she was writing a new version of me that I was familiar with, but that I had never seen before. And so as a consequence, I started looking more into her writing and developing some ideas around what her own version of writing and artificial creative intelligence might be, because it was this reading of Clarice's work ran parallel with my own investigation into artificial creative intelligence. And one of the things I was doing at the time was I was getting into this, let's call it improvisational call and response meta jam session, textual jam session with an AI language model that is referred to as a GPT. In this case, GPT-2, but also towards the end, GPT-3, generative pre-trained transformer. And these are very smart systems, even though they're weak AIs. They're pretty good, given how how recent they've been developed. And this is put out by OpenAI. And so the more I engaged with the GPT-2 to investigate ACI, I started playing around with it a little bit more by feeding it some of the lines that most connected with me from some of Clarice's work, particularly The Passion According to GH and Agua Viva. So the more I started generating text from the AI language model based off the prompts that came from Clarice's work, the more that stimulated thoughts and ideas and dialogue with Clarice in me. So then I really went full in and started putting in my text and her text and getting in dialogue. And I created what in the book I refer to as a kind of textual menage a trois between the AI, Clarice, and myself. And it ended up making, I think, for a very interesting textual interaction, one that that made me feel, in a way, even closer to her work and closer to the AI, or what I'm now calling ACI, and really started investigating further in the book what it means to, and this is where it gets maybe a little bit controversial, what it means to be non-human.